Hi friends, my name is Miss Casey and I work with the University of Kentucky here in Bourbon County at our Cooperative Extension service. I have a really fun job. My job is to get to go around and work with kids and adults and teaching them all about eating healthy. So March, that's the month we're in right now, is really important for us because it is National Nutrition Month. Woo! So it's a month that we set aside to really focus on making good eating habits. Right? We need to eat good all year long, but this month we want to really focus on making those good, healthy food choices. Okay? So along with some friends of mine, we're going to help you to learn how to make some good food choices, maybe even from a garden. So I hope that you enjoy our book today, and I hope you enjoy meeting some friends of mine. Hi friends, welcome to Peter Rabbit 2021. This year, we're doing things a little bit differently. So maybe you've had an older sibling or a cousin or somebody come through, and maybe you've heard the tales of a special bunny visiting their classroom. Well, this year we're coming to you just like everything else via the internet. So when we talk about Peter Rabbit this year, we're going to read our book, right? We have The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Raise your hands if you have heard of Peter Rabbit before. All right, probably lots of us have, and that's awesome. So I'm going to read you The Tale of Peter Rabbit today. And if you can see here in front of me, we have a very special garden. So maybe we'll have some visitors that will come in and tell us all about that garden. So let's read our book together. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down by the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Now, run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out." Then Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and an umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuces and French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages. But he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster. He might have gotten away if he not gotten caught in a gooseberry net with the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears. His sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Poor Peter. Mr. McGregor came up with a seed which he intended to pop on the top of Peter. But Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a watering can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in that tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath of a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each one. Presently, Peter sneezed. Kerchoo! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. Peter jumped out a window. Mr. McGregor tried to jump out the window as well, but it was too small for him. And he was tired of running after Peter, so he just decided to go back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright. He had not the least idea of which way to go. Also, he was very damp from sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about, looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that Peter could not understand her. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. He came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He heard all about cats from his little cousin Benjamin Bunny. He went back toward the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, 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 scratch. Peter scurried under some bushes, but as nothing happened, he came out and climbed on top of a wheelbarrow. Peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor holding onions. His back was turned toward Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped under the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him until he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost. I'm very sorry to say that Peter was not feeling well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea. She gave a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for their supper. The end. So that naughty little Peter Rabbit, he always manages to get himself in trouble because he just cannot resist the delicious vegetables that Mr. McGregor grows every year in his garden. And I bet if we sit super quietly that naughty Peter Rabbit will sneak over into Mr. McGregor's garden and try to steal some of his food. And he just can't hardly resist some carrots. Shh.
Hi, I'm Peter Rabbit. Have you seen Mr. McGregor? I hope he's all right because I want to raid his garden. I want to stay healthy so I can run and hop, and I can't do that if I don't get some of Mr. McGregor's fresh vegetables. But he doesn't want to share with me. I just don't know what I will do. Oh no, I think I hear him coming.
I thought I heard that pesky rabbit again. Did y'all see Peter Rabbit? He is always in my garden. And I understand, it's good. Oh my gracious, there's broccoli and potatoes, cauliflower, good stuff in my garden. And I know he likes it, but he steals it out of there before it can get all ready for me to can and save for the winter months. Do y'all have a garden? It is so much fun to plant the garden and then watch it grow and then take it in and share it with your family. I love raising a garden. It's time for me to decide what to plant to add to my garden. I've got some seeds for corn, for radishes, and pepper. I can't decide what to grow this time. We had a really good crop of corn this year. Corn's good for you. Corn has actually some protein in it that helps you get strong bodies and rebuild when you get hurt or you get cut. It helps your body mend itself. So corn's good for you. All of our vegetables are, I think I'm going to put a few corn seeds in right here. We'll have another row of corn to go along with our other vegetables that we have here. And hopefully I can keep that pesky rabbit out of it. Oh. Now if we can get some rain on it so it'll grow big and strong. All of these veggies are good for you. Eating the right food is important for you. It's kind of like, let's think about a car. What makes a car go? What do you have to put in a car before it will go? Gas, that's right. So we're going to be the car, and if we don't put good food in our bodies, then we get all draggy and slushy and fall asleep at school. But if we eat good, nutritious foods, then we have lots of energy and we're ready to participate in sports, soccer, cheerleading, dance, all those high energy things. And it makes you happier. You feel better when you're eating properly. Oh, I don't know. My garden looks pretty good this year. We got lettuce and cucumbers and potatoes. I wonder what vegetables Peter really likes to eat raw. We like to cook some of ours, but I know he likes carrots because my carrot is gone. Oh, here's a little one. Did that rabbit steal my big carrots? He might like cucumbers, potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, and asparagus. This is one of my favorites. If you've never tried it, you need to try it. Asparagus is really good. Did you know even radishes? And according to that story, Peter Rabbit likes radishes. I thought I had some radishes in here. Oh, there it is. He didn't get it. Here's my radish. Did you know that radishes make you have really healthy hair? Peter Rabbit has a lot of fur and hair, doesn't he? So I guess he needs radishes. It's also good for your skin. I'm going to hide that one from Peter. Maybe he won't bother my radishes this time. Also, have you ever seen that rabbit run? He can outrun me every time. You know why? Because he eats good vegetables. That will help us be strong and healthy and eat. You know, the more I talk about it, the more I think about Peter, I actually begin to feel a little bit sorry for him. What do you guys think? Should I share some of my garden with Peter? What? Should I? Okay, here he comes.
Mr. McGregor, you mean you're going to share your fresh vegetables with me?
Yes, all the kids here just made me think about all the good things that come from vegetables and how you need to be healthy too. So, we're going to sample some veggies.
Oh, yay! Do you think that all my special friends here could be bunnies and come and eat fresh vegetables in your garden too?
How about that, guys? Would you like to sample some of the vegetables that Peter's been stealing from our garden? I think that's a yes. Okay, let's taste the veggies